Hey, it's me, Chris. Are you looking for the perfect present for that special someone as we approach this holiday season? Well, I write and record personalized custom songs. They're a great, one-of-a-kind gift, and I'd love to write one for you. I have a few spots left, so don't sleep on this. Send an email to chrisdemakes@gmail.com for info. That's chrisdemakes@gmail.com. I look forward to helping you cap off 2024 with the perfect gift for that special someone.
Movie night with the girls is a blast no matter what, but sometimes we like to level up our experience and make it more memorable.
Streaming at home is routine, but going to the movies with my friends is an event.
Watching a film on the big screen with surround sound is so immersive and exciting.
And you can't beat those cushy reclining chairs.
And now that I joined the Regal Crown Club, I earn points every time I buy a ticket or concessions.
As soon as she told me Regal has a free loyalty rewards program, I joined too.
I can use my points for concession upgrades, movie tickets, and merch.
I like using my points to enter sweepstakes for exclusive prizes.
On Mondays, I get 25% off candy.
And Tuesdays are Regal Value Days, half off popcorn and tickets as low as $5.
Plus, Regal adds a free popcorn to my account every year for my birthday.
After my 6th visit, I got bonus points.
You've only gone 6 times. I've gone 10 times, and I got even more bonus points.
Wait, you went to the movies without me?
Yeah.
I want to see you dance! Hey everyone, today's guests are both vocalists and guitarists, and I'm speaking of Alan Day and Dan O'Connor from the Worcester, Massachusetts punk rock band 4 Year Strong. Together we dissect the writing, recording, and inspiration behind their 2024 single, Uncooked, taken from their latest album, Analysis Paralysis. Okay, just gonna put this out there now. Uncooked is my favorite song and production of 2024. This track's a monster. The arrangement, the placement of the harmonies, the production, dynamics, and the mix are all out of this world. Producer Will Putney might just be, pound for pound, my favorite producer going today. Dan and Alan were very frank and open about the lyrics. How the two of them had a bad case of writer's block going into the record, and how that writer's block became the impetus for the song. 4 Year Strong continue to push the boundaries of who they are as a band, something both exhilarating and scary. If you stay the same, you're yesterday's news, but if you change it all, you're not the same band. That old dilemma of an aging band. Well, 4 Year Strong has seemed to figure it all out. So for all this and some inspiration from Ludacris, stick around.
Hey, hey, have you heard? Chris DeMakes a podcast. Hey, hey, have you heard? Chris DeMakes a podcast. Hey, hey, have you heard? Chris DeMakes a podcast. Hey, hey, have you heard? Chris DeMakes a podcast.
Dan, Alan, how are we?
I'm great. How you doing?
I'm also great.
Awesome. I was commenting on Alan's Portishead shirt before we started rolling. I haven't seen one of those in a while. Love Portishead.
People think it's a real one sometimes, but it's a bootleg. So I'm not that cool. Don't worry.
Gotcha. I've said this many times on the show before with bands. Most bands now are younger than me in the punk genre, but you guys, you don't seem like you've been a band that's been around for over 20 years. You're still kind of the new kids to me, but you're crushing it. This song is amazing. You know, on this show, we typically like to go for songs that have a lot of years behind them or memories attached to them. And this song's only a couple months old, but it's amassed, at least on YouTube. I didn't check out the Spotify or anywhere else, but YouTube, it's like 300,000 plays. The production, Will Putney, has become my favorite producer. I've broke down a couple of his songs now. And we're going to get into that. I want to talk about him. It's amazing. This song's amazing. I can't stop listening to it because when I was researching for the episode, you guys are listed on Wikipedia as a pop punk band. And to me, you're everything but that. You've turned into something really special with this recording. It still sounds like 4 Year Strong, but it's just like you guys are on steroids or something. Let's talk about that a little bit. I'm serious. I've never heard you guys sound like this. It's incredible.
Well, first of all, thanks for saying we're like
you.
the new young guys, because that That's awesome. We're not always feeling like it these days, but yeah, thank you. I'm glad you like the song. We also really like the song.
Yeah.
And it's easy for us to say that because I feel like every artist just always kind of prefers their newest music. I did hear a podcast once with Paul McCartney on it where someone asked him the same thing. Like, do you think the music you're putting out right now is the best music you've ever made? And he was like, I was in the fucking Beatles. No. So, like,
Yeah.
I love that. But, you know, I also I like our new music. You know, I can't help it.
I think every artist does because that speaks to where you are right now.
Yeah.
But some of the bands that I've known and been running with that I've had on this show, All Time Low, Bayside, they're putting out some of their best, in my opinion, some of their best material, and the bands are bigger than ever. I know you guys are playing to more people now than you ever had.
Yeah.
And it's almost strange. It's like, you know, and I can cite my band in this as well. The longer the time goes on, it seems like more people are knowing us. Whereas I thought the opposite was going to happen. I thought they were going to forget about us. We better keep on tour and keep doing this because they're going to forget. And it seems like just the opposite is happening to a lot of us, and that's great.
I mean, it's a really cool time to be, you know, a touring musician and putting out new music, especially music that you actually are trying really hard to make cool. Like, I mean, we could have gone into the studio and just been like, all right, Rise or Die Part 2, here we go. But I mean, that's not really what drives us, especially to make more music, is if we're going to make music, it has to be what we're actually feeling at that moment. Cause we have a really hard time hiding feelings. Like if we're just phoning it in, we're going to show it on our face really easily. Like we can't,
Yeah.
And you're going to hear it.
we can't do that. Yeah. You're going to hear it. Yeah. So it's really cool to be able to, like you said, be in a band for 20 plus years and have this new record come out that we did try really hard. We did give a shit about, and it's resonating in all the ways that we hoped that it would.
Kind of what you said, Chris, about us being a pop punk band. And again, no shade on pop punk because that is who we are, the world we came up in, like, our whole support system is that.
Well, the chorus of this song is certainly indicative of that sound, but
Right.
the rest of it's just a monster. I'm like, I can't wait to get into this thing.
Right. But I think, like Dan was saying, we're always trying so hard to make music that we care about as music fans, as well as just being the band that people know us as. And I think that comes with a lot of like baggage, like while you're writing it, about your influences throughout your life, your influences right now, your influences through your fan base and the scene you're in and things like that. And it isn't always easy to carry around all that baggage, but I think this time around we like got through to like what we really heard in our heads for that direction. And it's not just pop punk. That's because that's not only thing that we are as music fans, you know?
Sure. Well, I noticed that Will Putney, the producer, he had worked with you guys on the previous record that came out in 2020. What was that album called?
Brain Pain.
Brain Pain.
Yep.
Okay. And what was it about him? And for those that don't know, I've talked about Will before because we broke down the Every Time I Die song called Planet Shit. Did that with Keith, and he produced that, which sounds like a truck coming at you.
Yep.
Will plays for a band called Fit for an Autopsy. He's also produced A Day to Remember, Knocked Loose, Body Count, among others. And, you know, this production, it's a little scary to take a band that has been around for as long as you guys have. You know, you're rooted in pop punk, whatever. But this production is so, I hate using the word modern because that sounds like maybe you were trend hopping. It's not that, but it just sounds so fresh. The room ambience on the drums, the textures and the way that this was put together. How was that? Because I'm sure you were getting some mixes back, or Will had these ideas, hey, we're going to use these processed drums here and do some different things maybe the band hasn't done. How receptive and open were you to that?
Honestly, a lot of that production creation was me and Dan in the background. A lot of it was baked into what the song was when we were like writing and doing pre-production, which Will was around for. But then we had it didn't feel like a luxury at the time. I'm sure you could attest to that, Dan, but we had the luxury actually of walking away after pre-production for like a month to like
that's awesome.
sit on the songs before we actually recorded them. And Dan, I think you could probably agree, that's where a lot of it really kind of came to life in their final form. Because Chris, I'm sure you know, like when you're in the studio, there's always a lot of feelings. You're done pre-production, you got to start tracking. You're like, is this even any good? Like we're making all these like on the fly final decisions that are going to live here for the rest of time, because that's what audio recordings are, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And we haven't quite got into the beginning process of this album and how we made it, but it was very stressful. Basically, we showed up to the studio. We didn't have a record written. We told Will leading up to it, but we said we got to keep the dates on the calendar, because if we move it, we'll just not write songs till that date.
I got goosebumps right now because this is what's going on. I had this conversation yesterday with my band. I want to go make a record next year where we go in with nothing.
Yeah.
I just want to go in because we always have riffs. You know, we always have, how many riffs you got in your voice memo on your phone? We all have them, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We've been around long enough. We know how to craft a song. I like that spontaneity. Man, I think that's awesome because I can really feel that in this track. I mean, I don't know how hard you labored over this, and that's my next question. Was there a demo of this song going in? How done was this song in that pre-production before you came back to record it?
Well, the interesting part about doing the record the way that we did was, and it was awesome because, like Alan said, we were able to walk away from the pre-production and have some time to process. But because we felt like we were basically like shotgun wedding this entire record, we didn't have the time to really sit and marinate over like these little riffs. Like, oh, should we go to the, should we go to the A, should we go to the B and make it dark? You know what I mean? Like we didn't really have a lot of that time to really nitty gritty all the different parts of the songs. We kind of had to rely on our guts instinct, like very quickly in the whole process. And I think that made the record what it is. I think that's why the record sounds so different than maybe the other records that we've done, because we didn't have that second voice in your head that's like, I think you got to 4-year strong this up a little bit. We kind of were just like, no, that's done. Like, we got to get more songs in the bucket. So it caused us to move on from a lot of these ideas. And I think a lot of our gut instinct was right on the money. And I think that in the past, it maybe has been on the money before, and then we've ruined it with too much time and too much ability to keep changing it. And that was actually a little bit of my frustration in the recording process, because I'm sure recording nowadays is so fluid, where you can like, oh, you know what? I don't like that riff. Let's go back and redo the riff. And it's not really that big of a pain in the ass to go back and do it. Same with any of the process. And that was kind of scary to me because I never felt like we were like fully committed to anything.
Yeah.
But once we made the demos and we left the studio and Alan and I could sit and listen to them and start to come up with these ideas, we didn't start thinking of ways to change the music. We started to think of ways to change the recording, which I think is the first time that we've ever really thought of our records in that way. And that's why a lot of those like weird little production elements kind of came out of that process.
I've said it before. I mean, there's bands and there's records that were made, and if it wasn't for the producer, that band wouldn't have had their sound or their career. And you guys already have a career. You've been a band for over 20 years, and here you are willing to take these kind of chances. I mean, I love that. I love that you didn't stay comfortable. You got a little uncomfortable with this recording. I couldn't believe this was you guys. I mean, I love the band. You guys are a powerhouse, especially live. But the song's incredible. I'm going to go out on the limb and say probably my favorite song in production of 2024 so far. And not because you guys are sitting ahead of me. This song's incredible. The track is 3 minutes and 14 seconds. The dynamics in this song are amazing. The production dynamics, how things float in and out. The intro is 4 bars of a super danceable hi-hat shuffle beat on the drums that are slightly processed filtered, a stereo guitar volume swell, and 2 more guitars left and right that are playing a high-pitched like single note drone and or feedback. And this all crescendos with a triumphant yeah, with tons of layers and delay on that yeah to bring us in to verse 1. And those Those drony guitars that are happening, they add such a tension through this song. I almost thought maybe that there was some synths going on, but that's all guitars, right?
Yeah, it's all guitars. And that's actually a great example of what Dan and I did. Some of the like creative end of production as opposed to like mixing stuff that we did in that little interim between pre-pro and recording. Or that actually might have even been between recording and mixing. I forget. Because Will was sharing the whole recording session with us. So we had everything at our fingertips, which, like Dan said, was a little scary at times because we just could keep changing things. But that intro originally was just drums. And we felt like it needed exactly what you just said, that like tension and release for when that vocal came in. And that guitar is actually just from the session. We took the tail end of the chorus 1 lead guitar that carries over and just copied and pasted it over there and maybe reversed it.
I love it.
Yeah.
And added some feedback.
It's very metal. It's like a drony, like you like symphonic metal. You'll hear that type of thing, and I just thought it was so different and odd for you guys, but so cool. The tension that brings.
Well, there's a lot of dissonance in the notes that are being played. So I think that adding that dissonance, and there's kind of like a little bit of a bend too. So it's getting closer and farther away from being in tune. And I think that entire build up where it's the guitar is moving in that way, I think really adds to the tension of that song. Because we wanted it to feel like when that song starts, you don't know what the hell's about to happen, but you know that something is going to. And that was kind of the whole point of that introduction.
The dissonance in it is it's just a single note bending from, but there's so much like reverb and stuff going on that you just are always hearing both notes, you know?
I wanna see you dance. I wanna see what you do with those idle hands. No, you're never out of place. Spinning round, 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 round through outer space.
I want to see you dance. I want to see what you do with those idle hands. No, you're never out of place. Spinning round, 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 round through outer space.
It sounds so much less cool.
It sounds like, honestly, it sounds like a Dr. Seuss book.
I guess. I mean, it could also be lyrics to a dance song, spinning round, round, round outer space. I mean, there's, what's going on here? What's happening?
Well, there's two things here. There's how it started and then what it ended up kind of being about. And I wonder if you will say the same thing as me, Dan.
Alan and I have a history of writing songs about writing songs. We've done that for many records, and it's because, I don't know if it's because we write everything together and we're constantly talking, we're constantly talking about our writer's block instead of just processing it internally like most artists, I assume, do. So a lot of times we end up writing about the frustration of that process. And I can't remember exactly what the first lyric that we came up with for this song was, because I can't remember. Did we have the chorus lyrics written before we came up with the verse? I remember the moment we came up with the I want to see you dance part, because it was more of a joke.
That's what I wanted to ask, because I don't know what's going on here yet, but I'm definitely feeling the tongue-in-cheekness of the lyric.
Yeah.
So that's what I was going to say is, I think that's the first thing we came up with. We had some like placeholder melodies and stuff in place for the chorus, and that I want to see you dance. I remember I can picture it. You were laying on the floor next to in that spare bedroom at Will's house.
Yeah.
And we were just like, what is it? What do we need to do here? And you were just, it just needs to do something stupid like, I want to see you dance. You just kind of said it, and me and Will were just kind of like, I mean, that's exactly what it needs to be. And that was a placeholder for a while.
Well, I remember too, it didn't have the long break there. I remember being like, I told you, I was like, hit the space bar on it. And then like, I hit this, like, I was like, I went, yeah, I want to see you dance.
The drums kept going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And talking about dynamics, everything you just talked about, I have it all in my notes. Everywhere where you put the stops, everywhere where I thought they were going to be, you didn't put them. I mean, I'm kind of having a knee-jerk thing going on here, and I really like it. The band hits on dance. And again, it's where that placement and you hit on that, it just crushes. And I watched some live videos and I see how that translates. Drums, bass, and huge stereo guitars are on that first line. And at the end of it, we get this open string noise, just like a open strings on the guitar that happen. Another little hook in the song. On the next line, I want to see what you do with those idle hands. It's processed drums again and atmospheric ambient noise. And then the band comes back in for another round before the next vocal. On No, 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 You're Never Out of Place, we get our first harmony in the song on You're Never Out of Place. On that line, this huge tom shuffle on the drums happens. It's locked in with the stereo guitars and the bass. And on the last line, spinning round, 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 we get these really cool circular kind of Beatles-esque harmonies kind of going from right to left in the panning. And the drums are filtered on that line as well. And then we get one more round of just the full band and a dun, dun, dun. And on that part, before we go into the chorus, we get that string noise again. And talk about that a little bit. Those little flourishes, were those on the main tracks or were those overdubs?
I think those were on the main tracks. I feel like a lot of those type things are where Alan and my just like guitar personalities come out during the recording process. Like we'll just be playing something and just end it in like a weird harmonic or a feedback or something like that, just naturally, because we do it live all the time. And finding the right places for those to happen has always been one of my favorite parts about recording guitars. Go ahead, Al. I see you.
That chord, those open strings are part of the chord too. Like that was part of the design of
Right.
the, like, you know, it's a power chord on the first fret and you open up that. I don't know what chord it is. We don't know anything about music, actually.
Neither do I, just fake it.
Yeah. It has that 90s, like, Stone Temple Pilots feel. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a lot of interesting things. I'm also hearing like Black Album Metallica just on the one line, You're Never Out of Place. The harmony there sounds like something on the Black Album. I'm like, whoa, there's Metallica for 4 seconds. And then the next line happens. I mean, there's a lot to unpack in this tune. Absolutely love it. I'm also hearing double vocals through this whole thing. Is that correct? The lead vocal was doubled?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
We always double ourselves, and something Dan and I have been doing for the entirety of our career we only harmonize each other. We never harmonize ourselves because that's how we do it live, you know? So we've always tried to apply that to the recording process. The problem is we've been doing it so long that like we make the joke that we're like an old married couple. Instead of starting to look the same, we start to sound the same. So yeah. Because we're almost always harmonizing, that means we're almost always singing together at the same time. And over the years, it's been less and less apparent who's singing the lead. Even when we go back and listen to the songs to like figure out who's singing what to play live, we'll be like, wait, is that you?
I'm glad you said that because I have a hard time. I'm not even going to try to discern who's singing some of this stuff. I know it's both of you guys. I have that happen.
Yeah.
Unlike you guys, I do harmonize with myself sometimes, very little. And because, you know, Roger has such a great voice and he'll harmonize to himself sometimes. Sometimes your voices just match up perfectly like that. But it's great that your voices, you're able to do that and they mesh so well that you can't figure out who it is.
We've been spending so much time like matching each other's inflections that now we just start to pronounce words the same. And like, I know how he makes sounds. So now that's just happens to be the way that I make sounds now. And it's very much like Al said, like it's just kind of like an old married couple that starts to just look the same.
And sometimes that's great, but it's also where that fifth member comes in, why it's great to have a producer that's going to call you out and say on your isms, I call them, like, you guys always do that thing. Can't we change it up here? And you're like, what? And you're like, it kind of makes you get out of your comfort zone. Chorus 1 comes right off of verse 1. And this is where I'm like, okay, this is 4 years strong. blood rushing to my face. I want to waste the day away. I want to live in denial. Live in denial. Never mind. I'll be fine.
I feel like we were about to touch on it in verse 1 where we were talking about what the song is about. And the song, I believe the first lyric written was, I want to see you dance. And me and Dan, for a while, had no idea what that meant, other than the fact that, like, is this corny? You know, like, okay, we're going to eventually replace that with the real lyric. And it ended up staying in place for a while. We write the chorus. We start to write the rest of the song. And I remember realizing at one point, and I don't know if you remember this, Dan, or if this was like consciously happening. I feel like it was when we were writing it, but it kind of ended up being about a thing that me and Dan talk about kind of a lot, which is we've both been straight edge since we were 13 years old. And it's always been such an important part of our lives, not like the label per se, but just like, I don't know, it's just a life that we know. And the older we get, the less we resonate with like the label and the lifestyle, but at the same time have no, I don't know, desire to be anything else except in certain small moments where you're like in a social gathering, you'd be like, man, that everyone else is having more fun than me. or my wife's getting this, like, after a long day, getting this glass of wine that's just like, man, she really seems to look forward to and enjoy that. I don't have that at the end of a long day, you know?
A nightcap.
I think I look to that in like coffee and sweets and things like that, but it doesn't
Sure.
have the same effect. One, because I don't want to have a coffee at 9:00 at night. But anyway, that's kind of what this whole song ended up being about. And like in the first verse, I've always kind of internalized that as like just that letting loose of yourself a little bit and what that must feel like. What are you going to do with yourself, your body, your mind, because neither of us know what getting drunk and high or any of that stuff is like, you know? And the chorus specifically, we leaned into that, like, I want to waste the day away. Like are these things that I want? Is this something I would want to try? And at the end of the thought is just like saying, I want to live in denial is like, you know, I want to live in this altered state. But never mind. I don't know. Maybe we're just happier this way, even though you have that glimmer of like, damn, that glass of wine, that seems special. But then at the end of the day, it's like, but even though the label has become less important to me, the lifestyle hasn't.
It's so much who I am, like at the core, like the idea of, I mean, especially nowadays where like people are so much more like open about like taking psychedelics and like all this stuff. And like, I have friends that do, and they tell me about these experiences, especially songwriters. And I feel like that was something that Alan and I talked about. It's like, not that we ever want to take psychedelics or do any of this stuff, but there's so many amazing songs that are written by people who do partake in that stuff. And I'm like, what if that's how you write good songs? You know what I mean?
We didn't quite get into the difficulties of like the beginning of writing this album, because me and Dan were in a rough writer's block place. And we did talk a lot about like, we should just break edge right now, smoke a ton of weed and see what comes out, because maybe that will unlock the creativity, because I don't know what the hell.
You know what's hilarious about this is most people are trying to figure out how they're going to, you know, stop drinking or taper off their drug use, and you guys are trying to figure out when you're going to pick up the habit. I'm like, what's going on here?
Hey everybody, we'll be right back with lots more with Alan and Dan from 4 Years Strong after a few words from our sponsors.
With Amex Platinum, you can really be in the now. Access to Resi Priority Notify. Yes! 4 p.m. checkout with fine hotels and resorts booked through Amex Travel.
We needed this.
And dedicated card member entrances at select events.
Let's go!
Means you can focus on the present moment. That's the powerful backing of American Express. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/withAmex. Card member entrance access not limited to Amex Platinum Card.
Want to shop Walmart Black Friday deals first? Walmart Plus members get early access to our hottest deals. Join now and get 50% off a 1-year annual membership. Shop Black Friday deals first with Walmart Plus. See terms at walmartplus.com.
My dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/campaign to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
One Hit Thunder is a podcast where we both celebrate and have a good laugh about bands and artists that had just one hit that we all know. Each week, we're joined by a guest from the world of music or comedy to learn more than you ever thought you would about some songs that you can't forget. And we decide if they brought the One Hit Thunder or were nothing more than a one-hit blunder. Look, if you listen to the show, you're probably going to laugh, and I guarantee you're going to crush next time the bar has music trivia. Tag Team, Jane Child, Meredith Brooks, Looking Glass, Sean Mullins, Eiffel 65, EMF, Crash Test Dummies, Crazy Town, Chumbawamba. We have hundreds of episodes in our back catalog and a new episode each week, so pass the Dutchie, make sure you're connected, and subscribe to One Hit Thunder wherever you get your pods. And now, back to the show.
Lots to unpack here in chorus 1. We get harmonies on pretty much every line here. Sounds like some tension notes mixed in with harmonies in unison, though. I don't think it's a full harmony going on here. Let's talk about that, how you get in there. You just kind of sing what you feel. Some stuff's harmonized, some stuff isn't, because there's a tension here with this backing vocal.
It was a hard one to come up with, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Again, I think we recorded most of the harmonies at your house, Dan. Because again, this whole process of this album was like a little bit here, a little bit there, and like walking away and sitting on it and being able to address the things, which again was stressful because leaving a creative door open constantly is like you'll never get it done. But I remember this chorus harmony being pretty hard to come up with
because we didn't want to go super high with it, and also it being super low kind of took the energy down. And just trying to find like this place, this like happy medium spot where the energy stays up, but we don't get too creepy and dissonant and all this stuff. And I think if I remember correctly, that's why we settled on hitting some unisons in those spots, because we didn't want to drop those notes even farther or lower or higher. Or
yeah, we wanted it to feel as much like a alternate melody, I guess. Like,
yeah,
because it's not like, your typical major third above or something like that.
That's what I like about it. It's definitely different, and it adds tension. This song has underlying tension to it just because of those guitars that we talked about. Here in chorus 1, the snare drum is double time here, just driving along with those stereo guitars, bass, and those droney guitars panned left and right, kind of swirling around. On I'll Be Fine, the band drops into an 8-bar halftime reintro, and we get these ahs after you say I'll be fine that are kind of left and right and panned, circling around. Halfway through, we get another I'll Be Fine with an those droney guitars, they're eerie in the best way, and this part coming out of the chorus is just crushing to lead us into verse 2.
Stop.
There's no time to decide if you're ready or not. No, you're never at a place. Spinning round,
we get into verse 2, I do want to say something. Have you seen this fella on YouTube? I think he calls it, it's like yacht rock songs. And what would Pantera sound like as yacht rock? Have you seen this guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have seen that guy, yeah.
When I was reading these lyrics the past couple days, and I even said it a minute ago, I made a joke, but like, if you just read them for face value, I want to see you dance, spinning round and round through outer space. You know, you don't know what you're getting here. And that's why I was so excited to break these lyrics down, because the song
sound like it'd be like an Earth, Wind, and Fire song or something like that. Yeah.
That's what I mean. But the song is just crushing. It takes your head off. Verse 2, here's the lyric. No better time to stop. There's no time to decide if you're ready or not. No. You're never out of place. Spinning round through outer space. Is that you guys spinning around, watching all your friends that are messed up, or they're spinning around and you're grounded?
I think that's more us just daydreaming about what it must be like to just be in that altered state, like just your mind spinning around and the ideas that you could possibly be coming up with at that time. And that the first part of that is basically going back and forth with yourself, either trying to convince yourself to do it or not do it. Like there's no better time to stop. That being stop being straight edge or stop not doing drugs or whatever.
And the funny part of that, the context of that stop, where everything stops and it's just Dan saying stop. Obviously, the like funny bit where we stop and he says the word stop was the original idea, but I always kind of see that kind of as what you were saying, Dan. Like it's me saying no better, like feeling like, okay, we're gonna fucking break edge right now, and then Dan's like stop, no,
yeah,
we're not gonna do that.
Yeah, you're talking nonsense.
Yeah,
this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I love it. Processed drums on the first line and super intense delayed vocals on no better time to stop. And on that stop, it's a left and right pan. Is that both of your voices, Dan, saying stop?
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yep.
It's so cool. I put in the notes, it reminded me of like Vogue from Madonna, like Vogue. Stop. You know, it's like this, and I talk about it a lot in the show. I know my listeners are probably sick of hearing me say it, but like those little hooks, I always thought like hooks and, within a song were vocal hooks. It had to be a big whoa, and it's little hooks could be this stop. It's just that little thing is just, it's so cool. The band then goes back for another round. There's no droney guitars though, but we do get the string noise here. On the next line, there's no time to decide if you're ready or not. We get harmonies on that line. It's the full band there with those droney guitars. They come back on that line. The last two lines here, no, you're never out of place, spinning round through outer space. Those are the same lyrics as verse 1. When this part came around, I feel like this is almost like a pre-chorus. It's the verse, but you're getting that same lyric again, and it feels like it's setting up chorus 2.
I think that was kind of the idea of it is, that's really the thesis statement of the whole thing, is like just thinking about what it would be like to just have your mind be expanded. And the difference with this one is in the first verse, I can't remember who's doing it, but one of us is doing the melody and one of us is doing the harmony. In the second verse, it switches to the other person.
And that just basically just makes it harder for us to remember to do live because we're idiots.
Yeah, that's always fun. I talk about that a lot on the show about, now we got to go learn how to play the song.
Yeah.
It was fun creating it, but now we got to play the darn thing. We get harmonies again on You're Never Out of Place and on spinning round. On the line, no, You're Never Out of Place. Amazing breakdown from the whole band and feel there with a nice feedback swell that happens on that line. Then we go into chorus 2. Same overall instrumentation as chorus 1, as well as vocal and harmony placement here. And then we get into the bridge, which starts again really with the line, I'll be fine, out of the chorus. It's 8 bars of hi-hat, clean 8th note stereo guitars, a beautiful yet haunting guitar that has like a chorusy reverb on it before the vocals kick in.
Till I'm blue in the face. I wanna hate, I wanna break away.
I want to take, till I'm blue in the face. I want to hate. I want to break. I want to make a mistake. I want to bite my tongue till it's rotting away. I wanna stop. I love that line, bite my tongue till it's rotting away, or something just, I don't know, powerful.
I think when we were writing this part is when we realized how much we were talking about breaking edge, which is why the word I want to break is in there.
I've had bands on here say, yeah, I was tripping acid when I wrote this song, or we were drunk one night, or we did this. I've never had anybody write a song about how they're, and don't take this the wrong way, how they're approaching 40 or in their 40s and still struggling with being straight edge. This is amazing.
I think that's why it's not even that necessarily it's struggling with it. It's the curiosity.
That's a better word. Curiosity. Yes.
It's the curiosity of not knowing at all what it's like. And like we said before, like there's no actual part of me that wants to actually do this, but there's especially when we were in those dire straits of like, God, I would do anything just to write a song. And this was kind of like our little fantasy of like, oh yeah, anything?
Uh-huh.
Like, what if we just like did some mushrooms and see what kind of record we come up with? You know what I mean? And when you said that there's this quality to the song where there's a lot of dissonance, there's a lot of tension, like you said, in the song. And I think that lends itself really well to where we were at writing the song, because there was a lot of tension.
Yeah.
And this was the first song that we finished for the record.
Oh.
It was the first time that when we were done with the song, it was the first time we're like, okay, I think I know the direction to go for this record. And I think all that tension and all of those feelings that are in that song were also lending themselves to the same exact ideas that we were having as far as like our creativity and what can we do to break it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what this bridge was. But Alan, do you remember where the idea for this bridge came from?
I do. I was wondering if we were going to talk about it or we were going to let that be a secret.
Whatever.
We don't like secrets here. Come on. There's no secrets among songwriters.
So when we were trying to come up with what should the vocals do in this part, we kept singing the same thing from another song over it. And Alan, you can sing it for me.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, we couldn't stop singing this same thing. We're like, it's got to be, how can it be this? And obviously we couldn't, but it was the second where the vocals do come in currently. So it had that musical break for like 8 bars or whatever it is. Then we would just, every time we'd start singing, I wanna lick you from your head to your toes, and I wanna move from the bed down to the floor, and I wanna. We just kept singing that song.
Give it to me now. I wanna lick you from your head to your toes, and I wanna move from the bed down to the floor, and I wanna. You make it so good, I don't wanna leave, but I gotta know what's your fantasy. I wanna
Ludicrous, yeah.
Dude, do you guys ever break into that live? It'd be a riot.
That would be really good.
We should. That'd be
People
funny.
would actually know the words.
You know what? And that doesn't get talked about near enough. We talk about scatting vocals here on the show. Like, oh, it was just the first idea. You guys even said it today. I want to see you dance. It was kind of like a placeholder, okay? But not many bands, and I've done this too, where I've had other lyrics like, oh, the bridge part from this Metallica song or something. It would, and you'd start singing those lyrics to kind of get the point across. But that's awesome. When did the running joke end though, and you were able to figure out what you wanted to say here lyrically?
I think it was at Will's house, I believe, right? Because were we writing the bridges there? We did a bunch of writing at my house as well, but I think we wrote that one at his place. And it's funny because still every time I hear that bridge, I think of it every time. So I hope I don't ruin it for everyone else who likes that song, but that's just what I hear in my head. And honestly, I really think it was the right call. Like it brings everything down. It has a really cool rhythm that really starts to build up the tension in that part even more.
I'll tell you what it does. We keep using the word tension, but the bass and really slow floor tom and snare buildup happen here over the whole vocal part, along with those droney guitars. And that slow tom and snare buildup, it starts rising in volume. Okay, this tension, and then it breaks into the next part, which we're going to get to in a second. And there's just something about how tension. Now we're in this next thing that part, it drives me wild. I absolutely love it. We get harmonies on the first couple lines here. I want to take till I'm blue in the face, all the way down till I want to bite my tongue till it's rotting away. Then the last couple lines, I wanna. It's now unison there. There's no harmony. And that's genius to me, because the harmony, there's not an urgency with the harmony. It kind of keeps it, I'll use the term flowery. It's kind of happy. And when you go to unison there, it's like you guys mean business. I really like it. Do you remember that being talked about?
Yeah, I remember us talking about it in the studio. And well, I don't know if we necessarily landed right away on it being a unison, or if but we did talk about the harmony stopping for that. Like, I remember us saying like the harmony shouldn't go there. And then I think it was Alan's idea that we should just go and keep going and do it in unison.
Well, then we get another stop, but on this stop, it's not vocals alone. We get a on the stereo guitars that take us into the next part. And I'm calling this the 16-bar mosh part. It's a mosh part. It's like the old hardcore songs,
sure.
Man. You get the release.
Yep.
Here's the release.
Yeah.
Here's this build up on this bridge, and now you're in this part. It's just the whole band's in a halftime breakdown.
I wanna stop.
I guess this could also be called a post bridge. We get the lyric, yeah, 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 and I want to see you dance again, kind of harking back to the intro of the song. I love the treatment, the reverb on the snare, and the overall room on the drums, especially in this part. How much of that was live room, do you guys recall, or how much of that was done in mixing later? It's just the textures here are incredible.
Probably a combination, but Will uses a lot of microphones on the drums. And a lot of that, from him describing it, is by design to be able to adjust accordingly. Not necessarily he needs all of these room mics all of the time, but he knows that at any point, if he needs something that is roomier, that has longer snare decay, he has it on a fader to just pull up. I'm sure there's some like external like plugins or like reverbs.
Well, yeah, and I'm sure he's got a mixing template, his go-tos of what he kind of likes. All mixers do, but this part's just incredible. Also, a couple other really cool things here in this post-bridge mosh part. On dance, there's a nice delay on dance, and the vocals kind of going all over the place. Kind of reminds me of maybe Jane's Addiction or something. That kind of vocal treatment. I've always been a sucker for that, and I wish my band would let me use it on my vocal. They don't very much, but I love the vocal treatment there. And then this part is so cool. We get a clean guitar, like open string strumming, panned off left. It almost sounds like two guitars, clean guitars, or a 12-string guitar. What is that?
It's two guitars.
It's two guitars.
Yeah.
Okay. It's awesome.
Yep.
And it's just, again, it's this. It was almost, and I hate to use this term, but I'm going to, it was almost distracting at first. Like, what is this? And then the more I tuned in and zoned in on what it was, I'm like, that is the coolest thing ever. Was that by accident? Was this, that's not a typical, hey, we're gonna do overdub day today. Put a little noodly guitar part here. This is a little strange.
It's just Dan playing rhythm guitar and me playing the lead guitar, which in this song, it's just a single string melody. And it's just the first note of that thing.
We also put the acoustic over it.
Okay, so there is an acoustic. That's why I'm thinking I was hearing a 12-string. There was something shimmering over there. Yeah. Okay.
I didn't know there was acoustic there.
Yeah, there's the that's all acoustic. There's a layer of it on top of it.
You're talking about during the breakdown.
Yeah,
the end of the breakdown. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the top of the last chorus. Yeah, during the breakdown, there's an acoustic guitar.
This is why we break down older songs. This is song so new, you guys don't even know your song, Alan. Jeez. Chorus 3. The surprises keep coming in this song. One of the most interesting guitar sounds I've heard in a while is this guitar that's alone on chorus 3. It's just a guitar and a vocal, blood rushing to my face, I want to waste before the band kicks back in. That guitar is nasty.
I wish I remember what we made, how we made some of those things. But I think there's phaser or something on there, right?
It is, it's ugly, it's mean, it's nasty, and it comes in, dare I say, maybe a dB and a half, 2 dB louder than everything else almost in the song. It's like, how can the band come back in from this? Again, the way this track was mixed is brilliant. Lots of peaks and valleys here. You know, I hear a lot of mixes these days that are brick walled. You know, they get mastered and it's just everything's here. The vocals in your face, the guitar's in your face, and it doesn't breathe. And a lot of stuff breathing here. I love the tone of that guitar.
Blood rushing to my face. I wanna waste the day away. I wanna live in denial. Live in denial. Never mind. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. I'll be fine.
The lyrics here on chorus 3 are the same as the other choruses in the song, except we get I'll be fine at the end for 2 more times. On the line, I'll be fine, the band goes halftime here until the end of the song. We get harmonies on everything until the last I'll be fine. And on fine, we get one final strum of almost sounds like a hollow body here at the end, like with a chorus effect on it.
I can't remember which guitar it is. But yeah, that was something that we talked about a lot in that song, is that we wanted to end on this major chord, at this major chord strum that like it's not really in the, like that major vibe really doesn't exist in the song.
Yeah, it's almost got a quality of like a spaghetti western guitar. So I'm like, whoa, this came out of left field.
Well, it's the first time in the song where you all of a sudden feel like you found home musically, because a lot of the riff is chromatic. You never really get to like, and here's like where you should live. Even the riff in the chord progression in the chorus doesn't even really feel like it lands on a home base the whole time.
And chorus 3 doesn't have that chord on Nevermind. It goes happy. It goes happy here in chorus 3. Let's talk about that for a second, because that tension chord is killer in chorus 1 and 2. And I love that it's not here, because what it did to me was it made me go, where's the tension chord? But I had to rewind the song to hear it. That's good.
See, that's how I do that. You got to get to listen again. But I could be wrong to anyone who might be listening to this and knows more than us. I'm pretty sure the chorus is a key change.
Yeah, it is.
So that tension chord that you're talking about at the end of chorus 1 and chorus 2 was just like, how the hell are we going to get back to the song key? So we had to have that like switch in vibe there to be able to get back to the major root, which is hard to call it major when every note like on either side of it is not in the key of the song.
Yeah, thanks for educating me on the progression change there. I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah, so on chorus 3, we don't change back into the key of the main riff. Da 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 da. We didn't have to get back to that first chord, which I believe is in F.
Yeah, I think it is.
So that main riff is F major. Like the lead guitar is played the major third of the F. But the whole chorus is in a different key. So when we played the last chorus, and you know, I don't know if you write songs like this these days, Chris, and I know it's a lot more common for people to be living in the age of Pro Tools and DAWs and stuff like that, where you can just like, I don't know, let's see what a doubled chorus looks like here. And you just kind of copy and paste stuff.
Sure.
And with that one, we copied and pasted and didn't have the chord switch, but copied and pasted the vocal with the I'll be fine that typically landed in the F major downbeat. And this one didn't. And it just felt like, oh, that's kind of sounds cool.
Yeah, it sounds like a conclusion.
Yeah.
The only thing that we couldn't do was have the harmony in it, because the harmony that normally is on the I'll be fine was out of the key. So that's why it goes down to one vocal for that one part.
I love it. Well, this song This song and production was a masterclass in songwriting. I can't say enough about Will Putney. I can't say enough about you guys. I'm proud of you. It's hard, if you make the same record, they're doing the same stuff. They haven't changed. And if you change, well, they've changed. They don't sound like they used to. It's a common dilemma for bands. And I don't care what anybody says. I think the material you're cranking out now is as good or better than anything you put out in your career. I'm stoked for you guys. Before we break, what do you got coming up with For Your Strong?
Well, I think at the time this drops, we're currently out on tour. We're supporting Analysis Paralysis, and I think we've got about a week left of the tour.
Nice. And Analysis Paralysis is the brand new record produced by Will Putney, and Uncooked is I believe it's the fourth track on the album. So if you haven't heard the record, go pick it up. And again, can't say enough about the song. Typically we want to go for an older track, but my producer Chris and I were talking. He's like, man, this band, look at how many plays are on this thing. And just beyond that, listen to the track. And I'm super stoked for you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. We really appreciate that very much.
What's it gonna take? Maybe it's me. What's it gonna take? Maybe it's me.
Hey everybody, the song you're hearing right now is Maybe It's Me from the new 4 Year Strong album, Analysis Paralysis. If you haven't checked it out yet, this album is crazy good, so make sure you do that. And don't go anywhere, we got lots more Chris DeMakes a Podcast coming right up after a few words from our sponsors.
Looking for a pickup truck to get just about anything done? Look no further. The Chevy Silverado EV isn't just the most powerful Silverado ever, with next-level towing capability and technology. It also offers game-changing versatility with the available multi-flex midgate and tailgate, which means Silverado EV helps you carry large, bulky, and oddly shaped items up to nearly 11 feet in length. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. Visit Chevrolet.com to learn more.
Behind the delivery trucks that keep your life stocked, thousands of employees at BP go to work every day. People bringing a new offshore production platform online. People making our refineries capable of more, like making renewable diesel from agricultural waste. People trading and shipping fuels to our customers. And people helping truckers fill up and get maintenance at our convenient locations. They're part of the more than 300,000 jobs BP supports across the country. Learn more at bp.com/investing in America.
This episode is brought to you by Allstate. Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like to check the date of the big game first before you accidentally buy tickets on your 20th wedding anniversary and have to spend the next 20 years of your marriage making up for it. Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Northbrook, Illinois.
Hey friends, have you been loving Chris DeMakes a Podcast? Well, spread the love by leaving a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Don't hesitate to share what you enjoy about the show in an actual written review on Apple Podcasts. Not only does it help more people discover us, but we often read reviews in the wrap segment of the show. It's a quick, cost-free way to support us and takes just a minute of your time. Your reviews mean the world to us and help us keep the podcast thriving. Thank you for being a listener, and thank you for being a friend.
As we near the end of the show, here's a band you might not know.
Welcome to this week's Band You Might Not Know. If you'd like your band to be considered for Chris DeMakes a Podcast, email your best song via MP3 only and a short bio to bandyoumighttnotknow@gmail.com. This week's featured artist is The Fatal Flaw, a power pop band from Boston, Massachusetts with punk rock roots. Bass player Joel Reeder was the bassist for the Mr. T Experience from the mid to late 90s, who's also a listener of this show. What's up, Joel? Hope we can connect soon, my friend. Here's a snippet of their latest single, Stop Pushing Me Away.
If I could somehow find somewhere to change your mind, don't say things you can't unsay. Stop pushing me away.
Chris and Chris.
Chris, I really like this episode. I really like the new 4 Year Strong album. It sounds so much different than anything I ever heard from them in the past. And I can really relate personally to what they said about caring about your new music and trying so hard with it and trying to write stuff that is beyond just, you know, in their case, probably in my case too, what people would call pop punk. You know, I feel like there is I kind of think there's a negative connotation to that term. I know you might not think there is. A lot of people might think that's a positive thing. To me, I feel like that just lumps things like, oh, that's just pop punk music, you know?
Well, try being in a ska band for 32 years, Chris.
Sure. Well, yeah, I get that too. Hey, although I will say that term ska, you know, I know that for a while there, it was kind of like people like turned their nose up at it, but I kind of feel like that has come back. Do you feel like it's come back around though? People were like more open to it now?
Oh gosh, yeah. It's not the 4-letter word it was at the turn of the century.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, if
3-letter
you were a ska
word.
band. 3-letter word. There you go. But no, these guys. I said it at the top of the episode, Chris. They keep pushing. They're pushing the boundaries of what somebody with a preconceived notion thinks 4 Year Strong sounds like or should sound like. And I said it. It's hard if you change. You changed. If you don't change, you didn't change. And where's the middle ground? I don't think this is the middle ground. I think that they went for the Hail Mary and they got it.
Yeah. No, I love that. That's what I always strive to do. It's what I want to do. And I love when bands do that. I don't want to hear the same thing over and over. So I think that's really cool. Also, I thought it was really cool that they talked about the decisions that you make in the studio are going to live forever. And they were really happy they got that month between pre-production and actual recording to really like live in the songs and think about them, because yeah, sometimes you're making a snap decision in the studio that you're going to have to listen to, you're going to have to hear, you're going to have to play for the rest of your life maybe. So It's nice to have a minute to think about it.
It is. And in that reflection, you know, everything from lyrics to, the arrangement of the song can all really come into focus when you step away from it for a moment.
Yeah. And I mean, right on the other side of that coin, though, you said you wanted to do this. I haven't ever done it either. I've done things like my band has rented out a little Airbnb and written songs in there without any songs being written beforehand. I've tried that before, but not make a record where you go in as a blank slate and trust yourself and your bandmates as songwriters and musicians to have the instincts to make amazing songs. You said you wanted to do that, but you haven't done that yet, right?
I'd like to try it just as a another lesson in songwriting. I think there's something to be said about your backs against the wall. How many times have people said on here mega smash hit songs, Chris, world-renowned hits that were written in 2 minutes? They threw it down. That was the idea. It didn't really change. And that's what you got. And it became this thing. And I like that. Yeah, it's a little scary, but something I was going to mention, and I got sidetracked when they were talking about all of that, about, oh man, we had to make these decisions right on the fly. Well, you not only have your 4 bandmates, but you're working with a producer that knows what he's doing. So between 5 songwriters and 5 like-minded minds, you can kind of hedge a bet that things are going to go well.
Yeah, maybe if you go into a studio with the people you surround yourself with, and you can't come out of there with anything, maybe it's time to reconsider what you're doing. Maybe find a new line of work or something, because you should, after you've been a band.
Yeah, and they kind of touched on that too, how they had this tremendous writer's block to the point they were like, maybe we should microdose, or maybe we should smoke a little bit of weed. And it's just, that's hilarious that, because like I said, usually it's the other way around. It's like, oh man, I've been drinking too much this tour. I better slow down. And these guys are going, I got writer's block. I might want to remedy this.
Yeah, I think they did the right thing though. Because as a guy who has experience trying to write songs on some substances, it doesn't always work out. It ain't always the Beatles situation. A lot of times it's laying around and not being able to play your instrument. So I think they made the right choice.
Yeah, how's the writing going? I don't know. I had 4 bowls of cereal and been staring at the TV for the last 4 hours.
Exactly. That would be my experience most of the time. Maybe you might once in a while hit on something, but also they talked about, we've heard it a million times, Chris, saying we're eventually going to replace that with the real lyric in reference to the I Want to See You Dance thing.
Yep.
You're never going to find a better thing than what's there. What's there, what your instinct was 99% of the time, that's the best thing.
I also loved, and I did not bring this up, I'm sure it had nothing to do with it, but the chorus of this song says "In Denial" and says "Never Mind," which are both lyrics in "Smells Like Teen Spirit," which I thought was interesting.
Oh, wow. I didn't even think about that. Maybe that's just subconscious. Some subconscious Kurt.
That's right. Well, another thing that could be subconscious is me getting into your brain and sending you over to ChrisDeMakes.com to sign up for our supporting cast, where you get bonus episodes of the After Party each week. Chris and I, we'll talk more to you. We'll give you even more of us for a small nominal fee. ChrisDeMakes.com. Head over there if you don't mind, and sign up. And we got some pretty cool things coming up, Chris. We're going to start getting some outside guests to maybe come and party with us on the after party. So some cool things to look forward to. And if you haven't already, please give us a 5-star review, not a 4-star review, not a 3-star review, a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, because it helps keep the train moving.
Yeah, we really appreciate those 5-star reviews and people signing up for the supporting cast. It means everything to us. If we want to continue making this podcast, we rely on the kindness of people like you, and we will give you our all, whether it be in after party episodes or in the main episode of Krista Makes a Podcast. And if you can spare a few bucks a month for a giant back catalog of after party episodes plus a new episode every week, or if you can just spare 30 seconds of your time to go leave us a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify, we'd really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And, I always tell you to go look at our Facebook page or Instagram page. You know where to find us. And if you don't, just search for us and give us a follow. That helps us as well. I want to thank this week's guest, Dan O'Connor and Alan Day from 4 Years Strong, for sitting in the hot seat. And we'll see you next week. Hey there, Krista Makes a Podcast listeners. Ready to take your podcast experience to the next level? By signing up for the supporting cast at ChristaMakes.com, you not only ensure the continued production of our show, but also unlock exclusive perks. Subscribers receive a weekly bonus episode of our other podcast, The After Party, co-hosted by Chris Fafalius and myself. Many fans rave that The After Party is just as enjoyable as the main show. And with close to 200 music-centric episodes in the archive, there's a treasure trove of entertainment awaiting you. Thank you for tuning in and for your support in keeping the podcast going strong. Join us at ChristaMakes.com and let's keep the fun conversations going.
Hey, Krista Makes a Podcast producer Chris Fafalius here. You may have heard me talk about my band Punchline before. Maybe you already know us, or maybe you're hearing about us for the first time right now. It doesn't matter. No matter what your relationship with Punchline is, I will absolutely guarantee that you'll love our new podcast, A Band Called Punchline. Starting with our humble beginnings in a small town in southwestern Pennsylvania in 1997, we're telling the hilarious, strange, and hopefully inspiring story of the 25 plus years of our band in the most honest way possible, podcast style. A Band Called Punchline is an audio documentary available now wherever you get your pods. So subscribe and let me and my friends share a wild, entertaining, unique, and wonderful tale of music and perseverance unlike any other that's still being written today.
What makes a song a smash on the charts? Is it talent? Luck? Timing? Well, as chart analyst and pop critic Chris Melanphy would say, it's all that and more. Chris hosts Hit Parade, a podcast from Slate, where he tells tales from more than a half-century of pop chart history. Through storytelling, trivia, and song snippets, he dissects how the artists you love or hate dominated the airwaves and shaped your memories forever. He's explained why Steely Dan is yacht rock and Jimmy Buffett isn't, why girl groups dominated the early 60s and boy bands the late 90s, how the members of disco band Chic wrote a bass line that launched hip-hop, how Taylor Swift pivoted from country to pop, how Sam Cooke invented soul and James Brown invented funk, and what exactly a one-hit wonder is, and whether the band Aha is a one-hit wonder. I think you'd really like it. So for tales of the hits from coast to coast, make sure to follow Hit Parade wherever you get your podcasts.
This is the story of Whitney Houston.
This is the story of Kurt Cobain.
Of George Michael, of Otis Redding, of Amy Winehouse, of Michael Hutchence, Bob Marley. This is the story of Prince.
It's a new podcast series
about how they died, why they died, and why we're still talking about them so long after.
It's like nothing you've ever heard before.
It's storytelling.
But it's more than that, because rock stars,
they tell us how we feel. They change our mood.
They change the clothes we wear, the people we hang out with,
the way we remember things.
It's them who give us those ludicrous moments, the ones where you're
jumping around, singing your heart out, feeling understood.
And it's those moments we'll help you remember, the ones you're thinking about right now.
That feeling.
That feeling.
It's coming soon from Crowd Network.
Just search for Death of a Rock Star on your podcast app.
And subscribe now.